Hi, I'm Vanessa Beretta from VanessaBeretta.com, and I wanted to talk about today swimming in your own darkness and how that is your path to your own light, to embracing and embodying your own light as well. And so if you'd like to hit the subscribe button below, certainly do so. I'm a licensed massage therapist and intuitive yoga and meditation teacher, and this is a topic that has actually been in my life for quite some time. I just want to tell a very little bit of backstory because you'll know where I'm coming from and how it's relating to today and this very fast-moving unfolding of the spiritual journey for many people. And so I actually grew up with yoga in my life. My parents are both yoga practitioners and deeply seeking practitioners, meaning they were really studying very intensely with their own enlightenment journey. And so at about 19, I actually started on my own. I had, taken classes and stuff and been involved in the community, obviously, the whole time. But at 19, I consider that my adult journey. And I really wanted to know. I was really seeking. I was really searching and seeking, and my goal was enlightenment. My goal was understanding who I am and what my purpose is and all those things. And about 6 years into that, as I was actually going to massage therapy college, I then found myofascial release, which is an amazing form of healing work and really powerful work that I do. And that was the beginning of me understanding this more integrated approach to who we are as humans. And that's really, there's a few nuggets about this that I really want to share. So I talk a lot about, on this channel, I talk a lot about our spiritual journey, ascension, enlightenment, if you want to call it, and the really, human experience. I am so interested and intrigued about the human experience and about how we feel and experience our life on a moment-to-moment basis. And so when I work with people, I've been doing the work I do for 11 years, the intuitive work I do and the in-person work I do. And I really see this pattern quite a bit, and I see it myself. And so right before this, actually, I was meditating. And my meditations are not, there's something that there's a lot of intuitive information coming through. And so the minute I closed my eyes, and I'm going to talk about how you can access this through meditation on another video, but the minute I closed my eyes, I saw down at my feet a very dark water, like my feet were just touching the tip of water. Dark water. Not murky water, but just dark, kind of like the ocean at night. And I felt part of my energy just be like kind of dragged down, and I was asking, what is this? What is this about? And then I found myself also submerged. So there's part of me that was like spiraling down, and then there was another part of me where I felt more of my body, physical, energetic body, was kind of waiting, and I was my head was out of the water, and the rest of my body was in the water, and I didn't feel scared or uncomfortable. And that was the biggest piece for me. And it was, what I heard was that it was about really being in your own darkness and not being scared of it. And so this has come up for me many, many times in many layers over many years. And this is something that I actually think is a really important thing for us to discuss, because every human has darkness, okay? Now, we're in a dualistic world, so we see things very polarized. We have dark and light, we have bad and good. And as much as that is part of this earth experience, it's also something that we almost negate the opposite of what we think one polarity is for liking one. So if you say, for instance, I love vanilla ice cream, you might immediately, someone might say, oh, that means you don't like chocolate. And maybe that's a very simplistic example, but we do this all the time, right? We might say this about political parties. Oh, you're this, so that means you're against that. Oh, this, that, right? It's always this kind of like, well, if I choose one, that means the other one is not right, right? And we do this. We do this with ourselves. We do this with other people. This is something that's a learned behavior that we've taken on being here. And part of this whole, for me lately, the whole ascension journey, the whole spiritual journey, the whole coming into higher frequencies of energy has been a lot about integrating dualistic paradigms that we consider dualistic. And so this was just for me another layer. So why is it important to really go through our darkness, and why? And you might say, well, how do I know if I'm not? Well, there's a couple of things to really bring up. I have a couple of notes here. It's very common for us as humans, especially in a Western culture, because I can't speak about every culture, and I know other cultures and other, groups of people might have this down a little more. But it's a very common thing to, when we feel something we don't want to feel, let's say that's anger or frustration or sadness or depression or grief, a lot of times we, on some level, we're scrambling to get out of that hole. We're scrambling to not feel that. And everyone's scrambling is going to look different at any moment. So my scrambling in a moment might be eating chocolate, okay? My scrambling might be putting on something to listen to, right? So I'm going to talk about this. So it's not that chocolate's bad or listening to something is bad. So I'm going to just address that in a minute. But it's so easy to kind of go there. And in the spiritual community, there's actually something called spiritual bypassing. Okay, I'm just looking for a sec. And that term was coined by John Welwood, and he saw it in his Buddhist community that basically we use spirituality as a way to avoid feeling. And so what that can look like is, it's not that there is one action that means you're bypassing and another action isn't. It's really about what you're doing inside. And as I'm discussing this, we're not meant to take any of this to the extreme. So it's not bad to comfort yourself. In fact, that's the opposite. We're meant to be really kind and nurturing to ourselves. But there's a lot of times where we, in the positive thinking realm, in the affirmation realm, it's so, sometimes if you only know about that, I see this with clients all the time. When I work with people, it's like I just have to think differently. I just have to, think about this more, and remember that I'm this and that and this and that. And it's so much. It's an efforting. It's such an efforting thing that we're doing. So without going off on too many kind of avenues with this, because this is actually a huge topic, it's just about being present with yourself, with your feelings, as much as possible. Not in a, you better feel this or else type of way, but in a very tangible way. And so this is why learning to settle and sit into your body, your physical body, is so powerful and so important. We are physical beings here. Our physical vehicle is something that we need to learn to embody, especially as light workers or empaths or all those other spectrums. Sometimes a lot of us actually have spent a lot of time more in the upper parts of our body, in the upper chakras and out, because it's really not always comfortable, because all the sensitivities and all the things and the information coming through. So a lot of this journey is about really, again, another thing that seems like a paradigm, grounding to be able to receive more higher light, right? So it's the deeper the roots, the taller the tree. And so it's the same with darkness into light. When we are wanting, when we are asking for change, when we are asking to feel more vibrant or happier or to move through things, we are going to, things that are in the way, if you want to call it, that are not in resonance with that new vibration that you want to bring in, are going to come up. Experiences from your past, not just your childhood, but past lives, experiences from, that they're going to show up for you. You're going to come into your awareness. And That's all normal. Okay? So we tend, the judgment thing comes up. It's like, if you're not like super high vibe all the time, you're like, you judge yourself, or you even maybe judge other people, where it's like, you don't have the spiritual thing down. And the reality is, the more that we can be with ourselves and embrace our feelings through all this stuff, the more that we can be open to the light, the more that we can be open to it. It is not so separate. It's not like dark, light, like they're two separate things. There is all this gray area in between. Just like vibration. It's so tangible. It's not something you say, well, this is this and that's that. It's so tangible. I usually say, like, when I'm teaching yoga, sometimes I'll say, your being, your essence, your larger perspective, the part of you, the largest part of you that is not your thoughts, that is not your mental energy, is so vast. And it's not this some concept. It's not this some enlightenment concept that's like out there. And it's in here. It's tangible. It's a tangible thing. It's an energetic, tangible thing. And so the more we can go in, the more we can have these experiences and understandings of who we are and what our purpose is. All our answers are inside. And how I feel this whole global shifts in the spiritual in consciousness is happening, is that we're able, things are moving very quick, and much quicker than they were 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, and our insights are coming really quick, and at the same time we're moving through, we're clearing. So when we go through these cycles, when we learn to ride these waves of our emotions, it makes it easier to not constantly worry when you're in the light, saying, oh no, I never want to leave this feeling. And then you bring anxiety into your body. A big piece of this is how we relate to ourselves. And how we talk to ourselves, how we experience ourselves, and how we just embrace who we are, the whole messiness of the human experience that we go through, okay? The constant shifts that we're going through. Do we love ourselves more when we're high vibe, or can we be there and hold space for ourselves when we're, on the floor, metaphorically and maybe literally speaking, in the muck? It doesn't mean we have to set up shop and like build a house in the darkness. It just means that it's not bad to go there. In fact, we actually become very spiritually mature and very grounded in who we are when we do that. And so the way that the bypassing can happen is, it's really not about anyone telling you you're bypassing, unless you're working with an intuitive and they're really helping you. But if someone was judging you, just forget that, There's no judgment here. But in the moment when something's coming up and you're experiencing something, it's so easy if you have those moments where you're just like, you try to distract yourself from your feelings in any way. You can start to take a moment and be mindful and just be with yourself, and even ask yourself, I use this question all the time, what am I feeling? What's going on inside? And sometimes it can be those moments scary for what you're feeling coming up, especially if it has to do with lack of worthiness, shame. Those can be really tricky things to feel, because it's almost like you don't even want to go there. So it's not that you have to like throw yourself into it. You can take all this in pieces and in waves. So when I work with people, whether it be the intuitive sessions over the phone or the in-person work, it's really about just like waiting at that moment, kind of just, holding space in a very kind way, in a very powerful way. And we can do that with ourselves. So when we learn to dance with the full spectrum of our human divine experience, we actually can enjoy our lives so much more. We can be even more connected to our guides and other beings, and really receive all the help and the support that we have from the physical and the non-physical worlds. So I'd love to hear what you feel about this. this topic I can probably banter about for hours. So tell me, have you ever heard about spiritual bypassing? Do you feel like this is something that you struggle with? Is this new to you? I had worked with a client the other day, and she's a very, very, very sensitive, very open empath, to the point where we need to work on creating some sort of boundary and focus. And this information, she didn't never heard of it before. And that's what kind of I don't want to say scares me, but kind of bothers me, because we can talk so much about the light, but we have to acknowledge, because we're human and our mind goes there, we start to judge ourselves about, oh, but I don't feel that way now, so I kind of suck, I kind of suck at this. Is that it's okay to be so tangibly present with whatever's going on. We don't have to constantly try to affirm these things away and manage it. It's really becoming your own friend through this process. And so I wish you so much, I give you so much love on your journey right now. Like it, share it out with your friends. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any other questions. And I will see you on the next one. Bye!